So, people from the countryside and people from the city, there are differences. In Holland there are differences, and I'm sure that in the country that you're living there are also differences. People on the countryside are often labeled as conservative. Well, I don't think that's it. I think we're mislabeling them. I think there's actually something else going on, and we're going to talk about it in this video. Let's go. Okay, let's start with a little fun fact first. Did you know that the Dutch farmers are actually the most productive farmers in the world, most productive per acre? It's true. The #1 exporter of food in the world is America. The #2 exporter of food is Holland. And this country is effing tiny. So personally I have nothing to do with that, yet I still feel proud. So shout out to the Dutch farmers. Now, what's the big difference between country folk and city folk? I lived in the city for a long time. Now I live basically here in the countryside. There is a big difference. In the cities, whenever there's a new thing, they go along with it more easily. And that's sometimes good and also sometimes bad. But here in the countryside, it's not like they have 2 feet firmly planted on the ground. That's not it. It's more like they have the ground halfway, like the ground comes up halfway to their body. They're very grounded. Now, when something crazy happens in the city, everybody gets all excited. When something crazy happens in the countryside, you know what happens? Nothing. The farmers over here, they make some sounds. They sound like animal noises. They go like, yo, did you hear that, like Russia invaded the Ukraine and Putin is really bad and everybody is dying and nuclear war is coming? And the Dutch farmer would be like, ja, no, ja, met Theo en maar, even kijken wat we. Now I don't know how you translate that, but the first part were like farm noises. But the second part is actually a saying that they have around here. It's called kijken wat wordt, which translates in Dutch to we kijken wel wat het wordt, and which in English is let's see how that works out. Now they're accused of being passive for saying that. They're accused of being not smart for saying that. But I think something else is going on. I think that the farmer's way of thinking and being is actually more in accordance with natural law. Let me try and explain what I mean with that. When I was reading the Bhagavad Gita, like when I was reading 10 years ago, for those who don't know, Bhagavad Gita, one of the greatest books ever written, there's a book about a big battle between the forces of good and the forces of evil. And it's an actual physical war. And Krishna talks to Arjuna, the hero of the story, before the battle begins, and he gives him instructions, and he said, listen, there's a big battle. And there's that eagle again, by the way. Sorry to interrupt. It's not an eagle, it's a buzzard. Every time I do a video here, this eagle shows himself. It's a good sign. Krishna says to Arjuna, they have already lost, but you still have to fight this battle. So Krishna goes, why have they already lost? So Arjuna says, why? And then Krishna explains, he says, well, they have strayed from their Dharma, from their mission in life. Therefore, they are already out of balance. Yet you must still fight them, but you are destined to win. And I never understood that. I always went like, wait a minute, you have to fight, but they're already lost. But I think I finally understand what they meant by that. Your Dharma is your mission in life. Now everybody has a mission in life. And you can stray from that, but it makes you out of balance. just like every cell in your body has a mission, and if everybody does the mission correctly, then you have healthy body. But if there are some cells who say like, I'm not gonna do what I'm supposed to do, I'm gonna like start on my own. To be honest, that's literally what cancer is. Cancer is just a group of cells who are starting for themselves and are only feeding themselves and making themselves bigger and not going towards the common good. So don't be to society what cancer is to a body. So don't become out of balance. And what the farmer says when he says, oh, bhagevad, when he says, let's see how that works out, what he's actually doing, he's just waiting. He's waiting and looking if what is happening is in accordance with natural law. Like if you have the trees behind me, you know, they produce oxygen, they grow in the earth, they grow up. Like if a tree stops growing and stops to give oxygen, if it doesn't fulfill his Dharma of growing and nurturing and communicating with the trees around it, what happens? It becomes sick and it dies. So if you can just observe, if you can just see how that turns out, just like the farmers do, I think we'll be better off. Also on a personal level, oh wait, there's an ambulance coming by. Okay. On a personal level, that's also true. If you ask yourself the question, what is my biggest regret in my life? What's the biggest regret in the past 10 years? What will you say? It will probably be something impulsive, what you regret. You know, you were just having fun, living in the moment, you weren't thinking it through, you just went along with some stuff and it cost you dearly. Yes, that's right. Could have been avoided if you just did bhagevad. If you just said, let's see how that works out. Now that wisdom of the farmers, that also pans out on a societal level. Because for the past 2 years, there has been a certain sickness in the news all the time. And it basically split Western civilization in two. And it's funny because now it's over and we don't talk about it anymore. But that's what happened. There were two camps. One camp thought there was this sickness that was going to kill us all. And the other one thought that Bill Gates was going to put us in concentration camps, which he hasn't done yet. But my point is, there were two camps in society and they were both wrong. Why? Because they got caught up. They got hyped. They got hyped by conspiracy videos on YouTube, and the other one got hyped by the official media. That's what happened. So maybe that's the message of this part of the earth and the people of this part of the earth. You know? Keep two feet not on the ground, keep them in the ground. Stay true to yourself. And I'm actually going to take that advice. I'm actually going to maybe take some more time for these videos. Sometimes I have a good idea and I get like real enthusiastic and I just like, oh, I have to make this video. No, I'm just say like the Dutch farmers do, even kijken wat, just give it some space and let's see how that turns out, and then I'll believe that I'll be able to make, well, better, more lasting content for you. So I'll be signing off. Take care, take it easy, 2 feet in the ground, and no matter what happens, just, well, let's see how that turns out. Okay? Kijken wat. See you next time.